Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Let's talk about it. I know everybody's pissed. Tell me in the comment section what you're mad about. Come on. Come on. We got everybody else going to be here in a little bit. Everybody come on in. Come on. Let's give it a couple of minutes. Let folks get in here. Yeah. So Alabama drops to Oklahoma for the second straight year in a row. A lot of the issues we've seen out of the last two games reared their ugly heads. Bama turns the ball over 3 times. Offensive line sketchy at times. Still can't run the football. And honestly, doomsday scenario. I get it. Everything's still in front of Alabama in terms of the college football playoff and this and that. But now you put it in the hands of the Iron Bowl. And the way they've just played against this defense, going on Jordan Hare, you're going to face another really, really good defense. It's just not a good look. For those of you just joining in, I'll let you know I'm not feeling my best. So I will do my best to get us through this all together. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot to unpack from this one. It'll take a couple of days to get through all of it. I think Ty, I think that was part of his problem, Kyle. I think that put a lot of pressure on himself. We started seeing it the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you. It was looking kind of rough. And so it caught up with him. So Alabama falls to Oklahoma again. Kudos to Oklahoma defensively. They played a great game. They had a great game plan. I don't understand some of the decisions that were made in this game, obviously, looking for me. But what's really frustrating is, and I'll bring this up, as we look at the stats here. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Turnovers. In a game where you didn't think Alabama was going to have a problem with that. They do. Really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you here. Let's look at team stats here. Yeah, look at the yardage difference. Look at the passing yards difference. Turnovers, man. That's what that was this game. That's what happened here. And so you can't do that and expect to win a game. It's really frustrating because this game, even as poorly as it was played, it was very winnable for Alabama. You can't throw a pick six. You can't fumble. You get a good stop on the defense and then fumble the punt return. You just kept giving them a short field. Just kept giving Oklahoma a short field. And then you put it again where you've got to go with your last minute heroics and win a game. And eventually that's going to catch up to you, especially against a defense that has a pass rush like this. And so, I played Crimson. I don't want to play in the SEC championship game, to be honest. Maybe Oklahoma is our Georgia, Chris. Maybe that's our Georgia. I got news. Oklahoma's going to be better. Yes, Bama lost. They just lost. Sure did. Oklahoma's going to be better next year than they are this year. And so, it's just, again, the stats are extremely frustrating. Offensively, Alabama did enough to win this game. The turnovers, man. We spotted how many points off of turnovers? 17, 13, 14, something like that. And then obviously the biggest difference in the game was the missed kick by Talty. He can blame that on the long snapper all he wants to. I get it. It mentally screws up your whole swing. But at the same time, man, you got to overcome adversity and make that kick. That was a clutch moment. Defense played well, but the defense, again, could not get pressure on Mateer consistently. That was Yanze Pierre didn't have a fantastic game. That was something that I was kind of surprised about. Obviously, the turnovers and that. I thought Alabama, with Oklahoma playing 3 true freshmen, I thought Bama would have a little bit more success getting to Mateer. There were some highlights in the run game with Daniel Hill, I thought, but we just kept slapping Jam Miller back in there. And Miller just, I don't know what's going on with Jam, but he's just not there. Now Alabama has to go win the last 2 to make the college football playoff. Essentially, the Iron Bowl becomes an elimination game. Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want this will be Kalen DeBoer's first time going to Jordan Hare Stadium. This team is in danger, I think, of also quitting on itself. You could kind of see it in some of the body language. So, yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, Ty was struggling, but I'll defend him in the sense that he was under duress a lot. But the strip sacks, like this, a crazy stat for you. It's Alabama's 5th game in a row with a strip sack. 5th game in a row with a strip sack. Guess what side of the line they're all coming off of? The right side. So I feel like ultimately, I mean, I hate to be the guy that's like, well, we beat ourselves, because I always feel like that's kind of a cop out. I mean, Alabama got its ass handed to it. But again, man, you just turn the ball over and just consistently keep turning the ball over. Ryan Williams dancing on the punt return, turns the ball over, gives him a short field. Obviously, that pick six early in the game was huge. And then, you still had an opportunity to win the game twice. All you had to do was kick a field goal or drive downfield. Ty, the worst thing he could have done on that last drive there was take a sack. He does. Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough because you just don't know what you're going to get game to game. So let's go look at the comments, see how everybody else is feeling. They have been, and it did finally catch up with them. John Riles. Yeah, I don't really know. I agree with you. I agree with you. Jam Miller's been a little bit of a liability. Not a little bit, a lot of bit. But I don't know the thought process behind not playing the hot hand consistently. We're trying to rotate so many guys in, and I think that messes with your cohesiveness somewhat. I think we saw that a little bit offensively today, but well, I mean, keep in mind, Chris, we're not done, man. Like this sucks. Nobody wanted to lose to Oklahoma, but it's not the end of the season. Everything Alabama wants is still right in front of them. I don't know that coming off of week one, this team was going to go win a national championship. They're going to drop to 7 or 8 after this one, and that's fine. They'll still be in. You're not going to get your first round bye, but assuming that they beat Auburn, that's the big one there. You've got a resurging Auburn team who's playing really, really well. And exactly, John, that's exactly what it does. It empowers Auburn. You're going to have an Auburn team that thinks they can beat you now in their house. That place is going to be rowdy. It's going to be loud. Just not a good look, man. It's 2 seasons, Chris. It's 2 seasons. Relax. I mean, I see what you're saying. I understand. Like you're seeing a trend, and that's concerning for you. I agree. But let's see what happens as year develops. I will say this. I watched a video about Brooks Austin. I've got a lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for Brooks Austin. I want to answer some of your questions here in a second. And he brought up the point that Alabama still looks very uncomfortable, and he kind of pitched the theory that it's because you've kind of got this modge podge of Saban guys and DeBoer guys. Me personally, just somebody said it earlier. He feels like Chris, but what's our record versus LSU? 0-2 versus Oklahoma. What's our record against LSU? Right? What's our record against Tennessee? What's our record against Missouri? What's our record against South Carolina? Like you can flip that argument on its side, man. What do you want? Do you want to fire Coach DeBoer? Is that what you want? But what I was saying is, I feel like there is some uncomfortability with this team. They don't know who they are, the identity. You can see it, man. Like it does just there's not a solid mesh all the time. That's why the team can't put people away. That's why it just feels like it's not fluid a lot. Now on the defensive side of the ball, I disagree. I think the defense played really, really good today. They were put in some tough positions and they balled out, man. Would have liked to see them gain a turnover somewhere, get a couple more sacks, but the defense kept this team in the game just like they have the last few games, and that is extremely frustrating, right? And nobody's trying to justify the loss, Chris. It's a loss, dude. It's a loss. Yes, Oklahoma has a better record against Alabama all time, right? But couple of years ago, they played in the playoff. What happened? Alabama beat them. Dude, it's just kind of how it is. You can, Kyle. You can. You pull for Georgia in this one. I feel like the comment earlier that Alabama may have overachieved could be accurate. But this is a good Oklahoma team, right? The games that they lost were coming off of John Mateer getting banged up. That still showed up a little bit offensively, but again, we kept giving them a short field. Alabama gave them that game. You turn the ball over 3 times, you're literally serving it up on a silver platter. And because of the lack of run game, because of the offensive line issues, it finally caught up with them. It was going to happen. Ty still threw for, everybody's kind of going in on Ty. The dude still threw for 326 yards. The pick 6 was brutal, absolutely brutal. I agree with you. However, I mean, the guy's thrown 1 interception all season. What about Connor Tulty not hitting a kick that would have ended this game 24-23? Because Oklahoma wasn't scoring a touchdown if we weren't giving them the ball inside of the 25. They were settling for field goals the entire game. So I feel like I feel like you have to look at this game. It sucks, man. It absolutely sucks. But statistically speaking, the chance of winning out was very, very slim. The fact that Alabama's made it this far is pretty impressive. You've got an opportunity to go out there next week. It might as well be a bye week. And then you got to go on the road. Alabama does that. They're going to be in the playoffs. I see the comments about why do you want to go to the playoffs? Well, because it helps with recruiting, right? Making the college football playoff is good for recruiting. It's good for the program overall, whether you win it or not. Alabama's not beating Ohio State, not the way they played today. So, Lance, I know, and I said this earlier, I get it. Like it's the long snapper's fault, but everybody else is expected to overcome adversity. Right, that ball was on the ground and in place to be kicked. I get it; it messes with the fluidity of his swing. You got to make the kick, man. You got to make the kick. In that situation, you got to make a kick. And so, but I will say, like, there's a feeling overall that this team mentally just taps out. At least that's what I'm feeling. That's what I see. Especially in some of the younger guys. Some of them happen to be high NIL guys. And it caught him, man. It caught him. I do agree with that, Lance. Yeah, I saw that too, man. And there was a lot of questionable stuff that happened in this game. I felt like there on that last drive, that one Lottie catch where the refs just kind of let it go, and then the kid throws him down on the ground 3 seconds after the whistle. You don't get a flag there. There are a lot of flags that could have probably gone both ways. They seem to go Oklahoma's way late in the game. That's just kind of how it is. So Tally, you mean Talty, Jay Walker? Yeah, probably. Keith, I've noticed that, but I think that's just what he looks like when he's like focused in, like when he's just like kind of paying attention to something very very hard. I think that's just what his eyes, because he's looked like that in other games where he's gone down and just smoked folks too. So, I don't know. The offense was awful tonight, but you guys keep in mind, this Auburn's defense is going to be a big challenge. This was the best defense that I think Alabama's going to play this year, and that includes the postseason. If by some way they make it far enough to play in Ohio State, then maybe. But this was a really, really good defense, not just on paper. Like on the field, this was good defense. Brent Venables had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. You kind of most Alabama fans felt all week like it was coming, like something this game was going to not go out. Things weren't going to go Alabama's way, and they didn't. And again, it was more adversity. Alabama's been on a ridiculous trek this season, but in this game they created their own adversity, and that is the problem. That's the problem. When we look at week 1, when we look at this week, why did they lose those games? Because they created their own adversity. Right. Again, defense, unlike week 1, the defense put them in a position to still have success and win this game. The offense just couldn't do it. They turning the ball over early. They couldn't overcome that, right? I will say this wasn't Ryan Grove's best game, in my opinion. I still struggle with the whole thought process between, what did Alabama finish with here rushing? 80 yards total. You're not running the ball well, so crucial downs, you're trying to run the ball up the middle. It's just not working. Really frustrating stuff. So, there's a lot of things you can go back and look at and blame, but really it comes down to the turnovers. That's what happened. And you got to give Oklahoma's defense credit. They played lights out. Their pass rush showed up towards the end of the game, started to kind of take over, and did what it needed to do to shut Alabama's offense down. I'm not making excuses for it. Our offensive line got their ass whipped. There, especially towards the end of the game, there was about 2 quarters they looked like they had it under control and gave Todd time, and you saw what was happening. But late there in the game, Oklahoma's pass rush kind of took over. So, let's see what's going on. Oh, my screen fell. Hold on. Yeah, TV. We were already talking about that. We don't know. Nobody knows the guy jumping over the long snapper. So, yeah, I wonder why, Keith. Why is running to the right of our line a problem? Somebody explain that to me. That, Andrew, I brought that up earlier. I don't know why we kept going away from that, why we kept putting back in Jim Miller. I don't have an answer for you there, man. I'm not on the coaching staff. I guess maybe they're trying to just keep legs fresh, but there are other folks, man. There's other folks back there that I just feel like could have potentially made a difference. Kevin Riley, he's been AWOL for God knows how long. So Jim Miller's been a pretty big liability the past couple of weeks. It's been very, very frustrating. It's been very frustrating to watch. So, yeah. Lance. But look, guys, everything's still in front of this team. Let's get over this first 24 hour of, this first 24 hours of, oh man, this sucks. And that initial emotional reaction, and come back to it and think about it a little more rationally and logically. Just given the slate of games Alabama's played, they were going to lose one at some point in time. And this is the one that they could lose. So now things don't look promising for the Iron Bowl, but we'll see once we get to that point. After Eastern Illinois next week. So I think I feel like this Eastern Illinois next week might as well be a positional tryout for some people, man. Honestly, like some folks on this team just and it started early in the game. Jam Whiffen and pass pro. Deontay Lawson hasn't been fantastic all year. So, what do you mean, Dalton? Goodbye to who? You talking about DeBoer? Yes, Gelato. Offense and special teams lost this game. I agree, Keith. He needs to sit, but they're not going to sit him because this is his last year. And I think there's loyalty at play. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it's fine that they should do that. I'm just saying that's the reason why I think. Yes, Raiders love. Agreed. I think at this point, why does it hurt? We talked about this all week with the cryptic posts and stuff. Hill and Deer would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing to see that. So that's a great question. Great question. We scored in the second half. Yeah, we scored 7 in the third quarter. That's it. So, I think we'll all probably get to see Keelan next week. You know what I mean? So, I think Bailey King, with Alabama's record, with what they did through that middle game stretch, 10-2 definitely guarantees them a playoff spot. They'll only drop to like 8, I think, at the lowest, maybe 9, but it'll be 7 or 8 with Oklahoma jumping them. And yeah, if they win out, they're making the playoff, man. There's still a path for them to make the SEC championship. So, but yeah, just so you're right. Yeah, you can't win with turnovers, and you're right. I agree with you, man. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. If you're going to be that loose with the football, the one thing that matters the most in this game, you absolutely shouldn't. So, he got a little banged up. Fitz. Yeah, I think that was some of it. He was over on the bench getting his leg looked at. So 10, 11, maybe. Gelato. That's a great question, man. I don't know. Alabama hasn't had an electrifying return game all year. Maybe they're trying to just I don't know. Like trying to jumpstart it, man. You know what I mean? But it did not work. It absolutely did not work. It was um, you could point at that as one of the differences in the game. You could point at the kick. You could point at Ty Simpson. There's a few different things, but I don't understand the thought process behind that. Cole Adams has been pretty solid, even in terms of just, ball security. That's a big part of punt returns, and Cole has had little problem with that in his career at Alabama. So it doesn't make any sense to me that they're going to go with Ryan Williams, who Ryan has had some mental stuff going on with him all season. So I don't really get it, man. Boom. Bing. Wait, hold on. Where's that comment? I accidentally clicked somebody else's. Yes. Yeah, it takes away that negative play, and all of a sudden, Alabama wins the game. So, somebody tell me how many points did we give them off of turnovers? I think 8 is very much likely, Kyle. Yeah. Yeah, it is, and that's exactly what Oklahoma played for. They gave us the middle of the field and a lot of stuff. So, 17 points off turnovers. Well, do the math, man. Do the math. I don't know about that. Not in that situation against that defense. I think Ty Simpson played fine. He was in a very rough, again, pick six. I get it. You don't like that. He underthrew some balls there late in the game, but he threw for 326 yards. He had a touchdown. This was a very, very good defense, guys. Like this is a defense that has a lot of draftees on it. This spring, it was going to happen, and Alabama's not going to go beating people 45-0 anymore. That's just not the nature of it. They're not built like that anymore. But again, this one could have easily, like many of these other close games, a couple of things go differently. This one easily could have been a wide margin victory for Alabama, and it sucks that it wasn't. But it's on them, man. Like, I mean, they've got to go home tonight. They've got to go stand in front of that crowd. They've got to go look themselves in the mirror. They got to go sit and film tomorrow, and they've got to look at what they put on the field and that product, because that's what lost the game. It wasn't like Oklahoma was overall the better team here, right? It was the fact that, I mean, they shat the bed. Alabama shat the bed. And that's why I'm saying, like, Connor Talty can scream and yell about the long snapper all he wants to. And I get it. Like that, blah, blah, blah. You still got to make the kick. The hold was good. It was down, laces out. You still got to make the damn kick. Every time he misses a kick this season, everybody's blaming the hold, when really the dude is just inaccurate. And for some reason, I don't know why he's kicking games for us, but so J-Bake, no kidding, man. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on with that. Again, I think that Austin's right. Brooks Austin is right. I think this coaching staff is still uncomfortable. I think Kalen DeBoer is still uncomfortable. And I think it's showing up. It's showing up at crucial times. They've been able to out-talent a couple teams. They should have been able to out-talent Oklahoma, but again, the difference is the turnovers. There's really not much else to say about that. Defense played well. Ty Simpson played good enough to win this football game. Wide receivers played good. The O-line played good enough to win this football game. Not the running game, but Alabama's been winning football games without that all season. The turnovers, that's what killed it, man. That's what killed it. So we can sit here and point fingers at everybody, but really you look at missing a kick and turnovers. I think about it that way. Alabama gives up 17 points off of turnovers. if Connor Talty makes a kick late in the game, or that kick earlier in the game, Alabama probably still wins by 2, but they win. So, so you're not going to like this answer, but Alabama's offensive line class last year was very, very good. It was very, very solid. Now, here's the thing. Alabama fans are used to giant guys that are bruisers who are built to maul people. That's not what Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb recruit. They recruit smaller, more athletic offensive linemen. And that's as long as he's the coach there, that's where Alabama's going to go with it. That's what they're going to do. So you're seeing kind of a modge-podge of those big bruisers from the Nick Saban era to these younger, like Parker Brailsford, these smaller guys. And it's just not, they don't mesh. It does not mesh. I didn't see Jaden Roberts either. But I agree with Chris in the sense it is very frustrating that, you're losing to a team consistently. Nobody, you shouldn't be losing to anybody consistently. I understand losing to people in the season. It's going to happen. But losing to people consistently is very frustrating. What happened to the old Alabama team? NIL and the transfer portal, man. That's the short answer. Everybody wants to say it's Nick Saban, but Alabama's offensive line was looking very similar to what it looked like now under Nick Saban's last couple of years. Alabama hasn't had a solid offensive line since 2020. And so, you can't build the depth that Alabama used to have, right? Because now a 4 and 5 star guy is getting his phone's blowing up and he's getting offers to go play as if he can hit the portal. I think the idea behind dropping the portal window to one opening is supposed to help with that, but still it's incredibly hard to build depth. That's why you can have a team go on the road and beat Georgia and then lose at home to Oklahoma, or lose on the road to FSU in week 1 the way Alabama did, and then a couple of weeks later go beat Georgia. That would be why, right? And so, and I'll say it. Not a lot of people are going to say it. I think some of the rule changes in terms of NIL and the transfer portal were put in place because you had such a dominant. I mean, everybody wanted to come to Alabama. If there was room, you'd come to Alabama. And kids, a lot of times, were willing to sit there. They were willing to sit and wait their turn and get better at their position and learn their craft. That's not the case anymore. So why do you think the guys that came with Kalen DeBoer are the best players on this team outside of Ty Simpson? Because they've been with him for so long. They've learned their craft. They've worked under him for so long. All right. We're only in year 2, man. Yeah, I know. Defense, dude, shout out Alabama's defense. Shout out to Alabama's defense. Alabama's defense played lights out today. So probably, yeah, they're sacrificing chickens in their stadium right now, guaranteed. So don't let it stress you out, man. Yeah. So losses happen. I think for some of us, especially those of you over on X, losses are worse because you've got to deal with the rival fan bases. Like I guarantee you, I have so many. Like I try not to talk a lot of smack leading up into a game, and I guarantee you, I've got so many people like retweeting bookmarks and stuff like that. And I'm like, damn it, I don't want to check my phone. So, but yeah, they look. Joshua, I don't disagree, man. They looked fantastic today. They absolutely looked fantastic today. And so, but they've looked fantastic the last few games, and I believe that Alabama's defense has kept them into some games and given the offense opportunities to win some of these closer games. Now, again, you can probably expect next week to be a blowout, but the week after that, if Alabama wants to go to the playoff, if they want still any shot at the SEC championship, they've got to go to Auburn, and they've got to do it. I don't know that this team right now, the way it's playing, can do that. I'm going to be honest with you. No, literally perfect timing on that question that just popped up. Do I think Bama is beating Auburn and Jordan-Hare? Not right now. Not right now. Auburn's going to do the exact same thing Oklahoma just did. They're going to do the exact same thing. So you're adding the variables of being on the road. It's a rivalry game on the road. I don't know. But then again, you don't know what version of this team you're going to get week in and week out. You really don't. So if it comes down to kicking field goals, no, Auburn's gonna destroy us. So that was my biggest concern here, was Oklahoma being able to stay in the game with field goals. I think I tweeted something out a couple days ago about, the defense having that bend don't break mentality and allowing big yards, and allowing these, because this kid's got a boot, allowing him to get into field goals, and then their pass rush stepping out our offense. In a way, that happened a little bit, but yeah. Well, I don't disagree with you, but it's a little too late in the season. The consistency should have already come. And I think that's why people are frustrated. I think that's why they're frustrated. So you better make the playoffs next year. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, Keith, because if you were to ask me 3 years ago, when Alabama, knowing Nick Saban was going to retire, if you were to ask me 3 years ago, is Alabama going to miss the 12-team playoff 2 consecutive years in a row, I would have been like, no, there's absolutely no way that's going to happen. There's too much talent. Well, I mean, they lose one more and they will. So, yeah, Lance, that again, man, and there's some questionable stuff. And I think at this point, it's okay for fans to ask questions and be concerned, because the staff does do some questionable things. All the plugging and playing with the offensive line. Why is Jam Miller? He's obviously, something's going on with him. Why is he playing as much as he is? Why are we having success with this one guy? You're pulling him for somebody else. It's very frustrating. Yeah, no kidding. 5 games in a row. 5 games in a row. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely insane. So, all right. Y'all take a screenshot of that. If you're right, man, we're going to come back to this after the Iron Bowl. If you can get the lead on Alabama and you can keep consistent pressure on the quarterback, yeah. Skipping rocks, bro. Oh, man. Look, it's not the end of the world. All the goals are still in front of Alabama. I don't know that they can achieve them. I didn't see anything today that made me say, other than the defense, that made me say, yeah, this team can win a national championship. I think national championship right now probably isn't something we should use in the same conversation as Alabama right now. I think the goal should be get as healthy as you can over the next week. Work on fundamental stuff and prepare for Auburn, win that game, and then worry about the playoff after that. Now, also, we have to consider, let's say Alabama does make the SEC championship game and they lose that game. Is that enough to keep them out? So that's something to consider moving forward as well. So, and we don't know why Wilkenforby continues to play. I think I know why. So I think he has family that are big time boosters personally. That's just my thought. It's a rumor I heard. I don't know how true it is. So yeah, I think so. We do need Georgia to lose, but that's true too, Keith. They do. But it's frustrating because it feels like when Alabama gets in these do or die situations, they can't move the ball without gimmick stuff, without getting cute. I don't want to play in the SEC championship game personally. I don't want Alabama there. I haven't wanted Alabama there. I know a lot of people don't like that take. I think it's a meaningless championship now. If it was going to allow Alabama to have one of the top 4 spots and get a bye week, sure, but I don't know if that's happening now. So they've said that, but do you trust the committee to stick to their word? So let's do something really quick. Let's look at ESPN playoff predictor. Let's take a peek here and we'll see. I'll bring this up and we'll all do it together. It'll be so much fun. All right. This thing's notoriously ridiculous. So This may not be updated. This may not update until tomorrow, but actually we can just do this. Oklahoma won that game. Alabama's going to be, let's say Alabama wins. Actually, let's say Alabama. Yeah, they win and they lose the conference championship. Let's see what happens. So you still have a 95% chance to make the college football playoff. You get Notre Dame as your first draw right now. You only get a 6% chance at a first round bye. 73% chance to host it. That's not bad to be first round visitor. That's not terrible. Let's say they do by chance, which I don't think they will. Doesn't really change much. So I agree. That's the game, man. That's what we're looking at right now is beat Auburn, right? So, like I said, allow yourselves 24 hours to be emotional about this. Everybody's going to talk about it. Everybody's going to be yappity about it because it's Alabama. I get it. If this game happened at Norman, they would have rushed the field. But it is what it is. Statistically speaking, after that week 1 loss, Alabama wasn't going to make it through the rest of the slate undefeated. They're still in really good position. They're still in control of their destiny. It's not like we need somebody else to take care of something for us. We went out, we're in. I think national championship hopes kind of took a hit, but ultimately we want to make the playoff for the program's legacy as well for recruiting. So are we in a state of emergency? No, that is an overreaction, 100%. This was probably, I think Oklahoma they're not the number 1 defense in the country, but they're like top 3. And they're like top 3 in every defensive category as well. And I think that just that's what that's kind of what won them the game in a sense because what does a really, really good defense do? They force turnovers. I think Alabama gave them their turnovers, but still, this was a good defense. It was going to happen. You look at it again on paper. We've talked about this ad nauseum at this point, but if Alabama doesn't turn that ball over, they blow this team out today. So, just my thoughts. And it's the first conference loss. Very good, Lance. Absolutely, you're 100% right, man. So, first conference loss. Yes, we did. We also missed 2. I think Nikhai Hill-Green had one too that he dropped. So, we have to be able to consistently great against top level teams. Here's the thing with that, Lance. Other Lance. I'm going to call you Other Lance because we have one Lance that's in here all the time. Other Lance is parity across college football is all. That's why Indiana is good all of a sudden, right? Georgia Tech's pretty good all of a sudden. Texas Tech is good all of a sudden. You have teams that are kind of popping up all over the place. That's why you have so many upsets in the SEC this year. It's because parity's found its way to college football. The days of being the team that blows somebody out 45-0 in the SEC is over with. That is where college football. I think this is what you're kind of getting at. That is where college football has evolved. That's what it's become. That's what people wanted it to be outside of Georgia and Alabama. Ohio State can still do it because they have the luxury of playing in the Big Ten, which is a terrible conference. But Alabama's beat some really good teams this year. Oklahoma is not the best team that Alabama's played all year. They're not. They are the best defense that Alabama's played all year. But that's the thing, man, is a team with a really good defense. And this is what made me nervous about this game. And for those of you who watch the shows, who watch the uploads, have been talking about this for weeks, is these 2 games at the end make me nervous because of how good the defenses are. And if a couple of things go against Alabama, they can win. Well, Auburn has a very, very good defense too. Not on par with Oklahoma, but it's good, right? So Alabama is going to have to go in there and play a not so great Auburn team. So Oklahoma's they're not that great, man. I mean, again, you look at what just happened. A couple things go differently with the turnover battle or a kick. Alabama wins that game. Yeah, Keith, I think that is 100% where we're headed, man. Golly, I can't keep up with y'all. Y'all commenting so fast. So yeah, man. Yeah. They can. And Auburn's offense looks a lot different. If you watched them last week, they're against Vanderbilt, their offense looks a lot different. A whole lot different. So that game definitely is not a sure thing anymore, if it ever was. So yeah, but is there an elite team in college football, Keith? I wonder. Like, is that a thing anymore? I'll be honest, man. Watching Texas A&M, the eye test, I thought Texas A&M was elite. You look at what they did the same thing this morning that Alabama did against Oklahoma. They gave a game to South Carolina. They were just able to kind of get their crap together in the second half and come back and win that one. Alabama got their crap together for like a quarter, or actually not even a quarter. They just couldn't overcome their own mistakes. Texas A&M was able to do that because South Carolina fell apart. Oklahoma just never, they're well coached. They never quit fighting. So Lance, yeah, Hunter, everybody's been saying that, man. Yeah, 2 mega conferences. Sure. He sure did. Marcel Reed, that was a pretty crazy game to watch. So, but anyway, guys, I am not feeling my best. So I'm going to cut this short tonight. But don't listen, don't beat yourselves up over this. There are a lot of people that kind of saw this one coming. I think folks got their hopes up when Thomas was not going to play, but I kind of kept telling people, like, look, they got a whole bunch of heavy hitters on that defense. It's not just that guy. So it is what it is at this point, right? We'll see what Alabama becomes or what they're able to do with this win, if they're able to use it to motivate them moving forward. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know what to expect from this team. I'm not going to sit here and, blow smoke up your dress, but there's definitely some fallacies all over the place with this Alabama team. One thing, that the defense has been great. Kicking game's not good. Ty Simpson is he's been solid, man. He's been solid, but maybe he's not what we thought he was towards the middle of the season. The vertical passing game is non-existent. We know what the running game looks like. The right side of the offensive line is dog water. All those things combined led to the turnovers that led to Alabama losing today. So anyway, now Lance, man, I got some health stuff that's been going on for a couple of months now. I'm trying to deal with, dude, and it's been pretty rough. So I'm just not feeling my best today. So, but anyway, thank you guys for sticking in with us. We'll be breaking this down tomorrow and the rest of the weekend, talking about what Alabama needs to do moving forward. So if you are not subscribed, there's 779 of you watching. Go over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. A lot of good content, starting to get into Alabama basketball season, which is a lot of fun too. So we'd love to have you over there. As always, you guys know the drill. Look, it's always Roll Tide no matter what. So take a deep breath. It's going to be fine. Let's go beat Eastern Illinois. Let's go beat Auburn. And then we'll start talking playoffs. As always, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.